Okay, so we're just gonna jump into game three. And yeah, I think it's okay to keep this. Turn one is going to be a yellow sand, almost always. We can play the defend of the homeland, and then turn two, we're going to be able to choking sand whatever he plays. So this is a really quite a nice start. Yeah, we're pretty happy with the start. And again, we play the sands on either side of our orb purposefully because we know later in the game we want the Wimbledon champion to be going up and down these lines. And I think this is really important, um, particularly in a game like this where we're going to have to really try and be fairly aggressive. Like we want one turn where we go from being defensive to being aggressive, but maybe we should actually be taking like actually be the aggressor if our hand allows us to do so. So having these lands here just gives us that option. Really don't want to place the Shaitan Vampire down here. Um, yeah, it'll be pretty bad, I think. We could start looking towards getting some uh, red lands down so we can play this Devouring Plant. Actually interested to see what the commentators are saying.
When you get those cast on you.
Yep, absolutely. And here I'm trying to figure out what Nightingale really wants to do. I think he's trying to hold off so he can bomb slinger this 2/4 next round or next turn. Pretty much as good of a target as you're going to get for this bomb slinger, generally speaking.
Yeah, but if you surround yourself with basic lands, it's going to be hard to do.
Yep, and that's one thing that you were mentioning before. A lot of new players tend to underestimate the power of land control like this, just using prairies to kind of take up space and block off your opponent's advance. And here we're basically going to see him draw a line in the sand,
Yeah,
so to speak.
yeah. I mean, land creation. A lot of players don't pay attention to it as much as I think they really should. And of course, with meteors in the mix, it becomes even more important how you place your lands and when you place your lands and where you place your lands. And it's unfortunate right now that Salugi can't play Devouring Plant because that would be an amazing time to play it against the Imperial uh, judge. Otherwise, he has to answer it in order to preserve the life of his follower in order to continue harvesting. So I wonder if he doesn't have to waste a Shaitan Vampire here, which is really unfortunate. Yeah, I think he does.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do that, but it's honestly not a bad play.
Well, the other option would have been to Kalium where the vampire is, and then just back the follower up behind it.
Hmm. I think it's not too bad. It saves one failure here. Um, it also stops him from getting one failure. And the other thing is, in terms of actual board presence, like number of minions is actually quite important. So maybe the vampire isn't doesn't have as much health as it could have had. Maybe it hasn't got the like maximum amount of value, but in terms of seeing this as a tempo play, it's quite good. So I'm not too unhappy about having to do this. The only thing is I'd really like it to have kind of positioning more towards his lands. I should always also, I think, be wary at this stage that his last two turns have been prairies, so it's very likely he doesn't have the meteor in his hand and be playing um, kind of knowing that. Um, so what I think I should be doing is I don't want to get boxed in so much here, so maybe I should look at placing lands on this side of his prairies so that I can then go for um, like more aggressive lands further throughout the game.
Um, to kind of have the follower behind the Colleen.
Yeah, you're right. I guess that would have been okay. He would have harvested with the judge, and you would have saved your vampire. So I think yeah, either one of those two plays are what you would have to do. What would end up be best? Well, there's a bomb slinger into a ground shaker, so
Yeah.
it turns out vampire not a good idea.
Wow. Yep.
How
Now
do
Um, so I guess the question is, can we really play around that? Was that a 0? It's a 0 cost bomb slinger as well, I think. I think it's unfortunate. In general, bomb slinger is really good for red in this matchup. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he got a lot of the answers that he needed. But at this stage, we should probably look at just sticking yellow prairies down and trying to get the Windborn champion online as
I
soon
was
as
about to
possible.
mention, I don't know if the follower is really even worth protecting against a deck that runs ground shakers like this, because you know that at some point it's just going to die to that ground shaker. Eventually, it's going to come out. And it's just a
You're
question
right.
of how much time you want to put into saving it before that happens.
One thing that I was thinking was I'm pretty sure he would have played the ground shaker previously. I think he just top decked it, right?
We can bomb slinger this 2/4 next round.
So yeah, he didn't have it in his hand before. So we shouldn't play around ground shaker in that position. Yeah. So be, given that he didn't play ground shaker previously to get rid of this, and he could have put a very aggressive red tile here or even just here. And yeah, he would have ground shakered last turn if he had it. So I don't think I don't think it's correct to play around the ground shaker because we know he doesn't have it. So actually, yeah, I think this is fine. And yeah, he top decks it, which yeah, fair enough. It happens. But this is very bad for our plan because now we have we can't get this aggressive prairie here or aggressive red tile perhaps. Or no, actually we'd go for yellow tile because we drew the Windborn champion. So could go up here, trade yellow, and then just pass. Or we can go here. But if we go here, then it's just asking for another bomb slinger or anything like that. Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's a really tough spot. But I think we just have to get these Windborn champion or this Windborn champion online as soon as possible. Hope we draw the other one and just pound face. So, yeah, I think this was wrong. don't think we should prioritize the devouring plant at all. We just need to get the Windborn champion as soon as possible. He's already used quite a lot of removal. So if we say play the Windborn champion either here or here next turn, then I think we can be fairly confident that it will survive. So I think that would be the better play, just putting down yellow tiles and just ignoring the red for now. Interesting to see what the commentators are saying.
You're right, and then you'd be left with the 7/6 vampire, and then another. And this is just punishing.
Yeah.
This is just salt in the wound.
So it's getting a little bit hard to follow here. I think it would have been.
Yeah, you're right. I guess that would have been okay. He would have harvested with the judge, and you would have saved your vampire. So I think either one of those two plays are what you would have to do. What would end up be best? Well, there's a bomb slinger into a ground shaker, so it turns out vampire, not a good idea.
Wow. Yep.
However,
I was about to mention, I don't know if the follower is really even worth protecting against a deck that runs ground shakers like this, because you know that at some point it's just going to die to that ground shaker. Eventually it's going to come out. And it's just a question of how much time you want to put into saving it before that happens.
You're right. And let's say he did the other play, which was block with the column Sky Prodigy. He would have been hit by the Imperial Judge, taken down to 5, hit by the ground shaker, taken down to 4, and then bomb slingered. So the net result is he would have had no creatures on the board. At least this way he's left with a column Sky Prodigy. So there's that to be appreciative of. But it's still not super great for you.
Well, at the same time here, he would also be able to vampire the bomb slinger away.
Yeah, you're right. And then you'd be left with the 7/6 vampire, and then another. And this is just punishing.
Yeah.
This is just salt in the wound.
So it's getting a little bit hard to follow here. I think he would have been in a slightly better position at this point, but it's really hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, we're going down a different line of play that didn't exist, but I think it would have been better. Yeah.
All right, but anyway, let's see what Salugi does have left. This follower could come down just to kind of slow down the advance a little bit, but nothing can really save him any life or anything like that. At this point, he's basically just playing a monocolored deck.
Crow, look at the meteor target he just made. That's the juiciest meteor target that ever existed.
I don't think we can play around Meteor at all at this stage. We just have to hope that he doesn't draw it. Because, we can't even create more lands. So we just need to get this Windborn champion out
he does not
as soon
have
as
one
possible.
Hand, nor does he have one bargained for, but...
Meteor destroys gods, right? I
mean... it should. It should.
Yeah, if that comes down, he will just have no deserts left whatsoever, which is absolutely huge. I think he just decided that, well, actually no, I think it was more Nightingale that did it. But Nightingale just made so many lands, kind of closed in his opponent here, which is exactly what you want to do if you're playing this sort of Meteor deck, if you're looking to basically win off the Meteor.
Yeah, it's the game inside the game, like the land placement game. And you can win games just based on how you place your land. I mean, sure, you got to play your deck correctly, but one thing that's a lot harder to, and is not so intuitive to play a lot of times, is how you place your lands. Yep. Decks in general, in comparison, could be much easier or much more straightforward. Not all the time, but just in general, land placement is more difficult because there are lots more choices every single turn.
I actually got into a discussion with a Go player.
Oh. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is wrong. I don't see any reason not to get the Windborn champion out here.
In the Discord chat about land placement and that sort of thing, and it's really interesting to see like the levels of Go that are still applicable to this sort of land placement.
Yeah, and I'm sure it has a lot in common with this type of play, and it's something very subtle that it's part of like the mastery of the game, right? Like new players aren't going to worry about this too much, but like when you get to the high levels, your land placement is really key.
Yeah.
Just doesn't make sense to do this. Yeah, this was wrong.
I know I always find it a little bit odd. You can never stop the yellow deck from getting in, attacking you, just by land placement and that sort of thing. They always get that aggressive land. I would never be able to get in that aggressive land. Like, players would just be able to outmaneuver me and keep me from getting in there. So it's really interesting to see, like, all the subtleties that exist. When to place prairies, when to place colored lands, all that sort of thing. And a lot of times it's, you kind of have to delay your colored lands. Even though you'd like to be able to play these cards and everything in your hand, you need to do something so that you can defend.
So we have the ground shaker. And the target there is fine. Um, but no, we should just be playing Windborne Champion here. We should have done it 2 turns ago. Yeah.
Against the rush.
And this time, there's no Baron Thulgar coming out from Nightingale. He just safely plays an Ogre Dance. The Ground Shaker is going to clear off the Bold Bargainer, which took a damage from the Devouring Plant, I imagine.
Ground shaker also takes this out, I guess. So that saves. That means he only gains 4 Fairy next turn, which I guess is fine. And we should play it here to kind of force him to make a land here if he wants to Bombslinger.
That's what's going to happen. It could also be... No, the Ground Shaker most certainly comes down here.
Oh yeah, it's got to be the play. It takes out 2 creatures and trades favorably into the last one. Yeah, and that we are going to see that come down. I'm a little bit surprised he played it at that spot and not 1 square farther down, because then he has the option of attacking it if the Ground Shaker does advance more.
Yeah, you're right. And now he can't. Yeah, it's out of reach now, and that's within range of his orb. So
That's a
maybe
good
he's
point.
thinking, if that does happen, I'll play my Windstorm Charger, which he'll be able to play next turn after he summons 1 more desert in the way of the 5. Oh, he could just use the Windstorm Charger to trade, actually. He can play the Windstorm Charger, move the 5/5 up, and then harvest down, and then destroy the Ground Shaker.
Windborne Champion, you had a slight mistake.
Oh, what did I call it?
You were calling it the Windstorm Charger. A little bit different.
Oh, that's a different card. Yeah, this is the Windborne Champion, the Flying Dragon, man.
But I think we probably will see that come down here.
Yep.
So he'll probably play it on the left side of the board, so it can contest this 2/3 really nicely, and then move his opponent's Ground Shaker up. Okay, right side of the board is also fine. Okay, I actually like right side of the board better now that I think about it a little bit. It gives him the initiative. He gets to choose when he makes that trade instead of allowing his opponent to trade into it.
The only problem with putting it on this side is if he, say, moves this here, I can't then attack the orb, which I think I really need to do. This side is weaker to Firestorm and Garridan, if we think he has those. I mean, yeah, Firestorm would just crush us. I mean, we know he has it, but maybe we can just play it safe. I guess there's no harm in doing it this side, because we can still trade if we want to.
Yeah, stops that fairy gain from the Brigand, because you are legitimately worried about Meteor at this point. He could otherwise gain 4 fairy this turn, be up to 10, and of course against the Bold Bargainer deck, you don't even know what the Meteor costs at this point. Although actually, there's only 1 card. If you're playing it as a high competitive level, you keep track of all the discounted cards. You would know that there's 1 card in Nightingale's hand that is discounted. It happens to be a Bomb Slinger, but Salugi doesn't know what it is for sure. And that was a Firestorm, by the way, that cleared off the Ground Shaker and took the champion to a 5/2.
If a Meteor had been hit that turn, though, it would have been another huge swing, just being able to take out all those deserts by the god.
Interesting. He could have sideboarded out Meteor. That's something that could have actually happened. I don't think that he would have, considering the success it has had previously.
Yeah, I think if your opponent starts playing around it very effectively, then it's definitely the sort of thing that you do want to do, because then they'll still be playing around it. So you kind of get the benefit of having that threat of it without actually including it in your deck.
But it's almost like Salugi is taunting Nightingale. Like, hey, look at my juicy Meteor target. Do you still run him? Did you sideboard him out?
Now, one thing that these players could be doing, too, that we haven't talked about too much, is both these players are a lock for the top 4. That's a guarantee at this point. So they could be trying to get a feel for their opponent and try to figure out exactly what they're going to be doing. So sorry, let me explain it a little bit better. So if Salugi is making some plays like this, he's trying to figure out, would Nightingale keep Meteor in against me? Then that could be why he's doing this, because if his opponent does have Meteor in his deck, he wants to bait that out and know that, so he has that information going forwards into the top 4.
I think what he's going to do is clear the Brigand there and move away from the meteor target, yes, and go for the face. Because, okay, worst case scenario, you get bomb slingered. Oh, and he draws the meteor. But it is a 12 cost. He is going to get bomb slingered. But it's near Nightingale's orb, so it doesn't threaten his health for many, many turns, if at all, ever. And the funny thing is, the Brigand is difficult for Salugi to deal with because you would love to have a mid-range creature to deal with it. The best answer you have is probably Ground Shaker, and it's a shame to play a Ground Shaker to counter. And then he draws a Queen's Favorite. So the Queen's Favorite allows him to hit once and then Ground Shaker, so that's something. But
So how do we do this? So we can play Queen's Favorite here, Gather Feyreia. Okay, so if we Feyreia, play Ground Shaker here, then we hope for... We deny him 2 Feyreia from this. We hope for 5 Feyreia next turn, so we won't have the Feyreia for the vampire. So bearing in mind we can't play the vampire next turn, I think we should play Queen's Favorite this turn. I can't actually remember what I did.
The Queen's Favorite to trade with the Bomb Slinger now, so there's actually a difficult choice right now.
I think we're somewhat likely to see the Queen Favorite on the left side of the Brigand. No, I am entirely wrong. It's going to be exactly the opposite side of the board.
Remember to always say the opposite of what you want to happen,
right.
so that...
Well, I'm a commentator. I just want to see a good game, so, you know.
Yeah,
Wait, no, I mean I want to see a bad game. Is that right?
This is also interesting. So if he retreats, then we have, some Feyreia, which is great. If he doesn't retreat, then we can trade off the Bomb Slinger and create a land here, and get aggressive. Yeah, I guess I think this is quite good actually. I'm not too worried about him killing us in 8 turns. So, yeah, I think this is fine. And, yeah, he drew the Queen's Favorite, so he can put that there. So, that's his best answer to it. But, yeah, I think this was actually correct. I'm quite happy with this play.
But since he did do that...
The only thing that...
so it doesn't threaten his health for many, many turns.
So yeah, let's have a look again at this. So we actually shouldn't... We shouldn't draw here. We should gain 1 Feyreia. So we play Queen's Favorite here. He... Either... he won't trade. So he probably moves back here. So we have this option to do this. If he stays there, and as he does, he plays Queen's Favorite there, we could actually move here because we would have 6 mana next turn. And no, we'd have 6 mana, so we still wouldn't have enough to play Shaitan, right? Yeah, we wouldn't have enough. But yeah, I think this is right. But maybe we shouldn't draw. We should just gain Feyreia. Possibly better. Because what can we actually draw that helps us? There's basically nothing. So, yeah, Feyreia is far more important.
Meteor can happen.
Yes, Meteor is an option.
But you lose your Brigand. Is it worth it?
You don't lose your brigand actually. You can step your brigand back one
Oh,
square onto that prairie.
you're
Um,
right. Yeah, you don't have to hit the face this turn. You can get the Feria and then Meteor, and then that might actually be significant enough. Not destroying any units, but destroying 4 deserts. I don't know though.
I think I would be greedy with it because those 4 deserts are literally not going anywhere. There's no shifting tides. There's no prophet tides. Nothing. So you
Yeah,
have some time.
and the only thing the deserts allow really is a windstorm.
Huh?
Sorry, a windborne champion, but also allow.
Oh no, if we did get one extra Faeria last turn and we didn't draw, we'd have 3 now. So we gain 4 Faeria this turn, we come over here, we trade, and we can play yellow. Yeah, we play yellow land here and then play vampire. And that at least, it's some threat from our side. We see he has the Lord of Terror in his hand, but we'd still be able to last nightmare it. So actually, that if we just gathered Faeria last turn instead of drawing a card, we'd be in not a great position, but a reasonable position. But yeah, I guess it's
I guess to some degree. Anyway, yeah, I don't think we do.
yeah. So if we just thought ahead a turn, we could actually still be in this game. So choking sand is interesting.
In the meantime, he can use it to clear off the. This is probably much better instead of waiting for something like that. That way
Absolutely.
you stop the Feria harvesting, and yeah, pretty good.
I think we should build a land here, actually. Whether it should be red or yellow, I'm not sure, but we should probably build a yellow land because to play around this meteor threat. Yeah, I don't know why we gain Faeria.
Now he's gonna play the Queen's Favorite on the left side. This seems really dangerous to me. Oh man, Baron Thorgar's still in the deck. Um,
You didn't take it out.
but anyway, this brigand can hit twice in the Queen's Favorite, and it just gives a ton of Favoria. And other than that, trades off favorably.
Yep, and Ground Shaker can finish off the Brigand as well after that. A Bold Bargainer, oh my gosh. Into. Okay, he gets Lord of Terror, so that's not exactly the best result there.
Yeah, in fact,
Does
that's
he
the worst.
play the Baron Felguard? Does he learn? I mean, I don't want to call it a mistake. It wasn't a mistake to play Baron Felguard. It was just a risk. Does he take the risk of playing Baron Felguard?
I
There
think
has
you
not
have
been
to.
a Garridan, has there?
Garradon has not been played by Salugi, no.
No. So it's a real risk again out of 13 cards, which is an unlucky number.
But what if Nightingale
Um,
draws his own Garradon?
Then that's the other direction it can go, I guess, because you're right. I don't think. Yeah, he only played a Firestorm, so I think Garden's still remaining.
Yeah, so I can see the idea behind this play. We set up this and then Ground Shaker here. But I think it's better to just develop a land rather than get Faeria and play this. If we set up a red land here, we could still Ground Shaker next turn because we wouldn't have played the Queen's Favourite. And yeah, then Ground Shaker can march towards face.
I think he's gun shy now. I think he's Fulgar shy after what happened. Yeah, he just passes. I don't blame him.
He might actually get.
Whereas now, now we don't have the Faeria to play Ground Shaker without the +1, so we don't get to gather. We don't get to build a land. So yeah, I'm fine taking this 2 damage a turn when, you know, if we get a Ground Shaker here, then it's going to hit him for 5 damage each turn. So yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think that this was correct by any means. We should like it was even better to play it here, because then we would have been able to just do this play.
Really punish for this play now,
It
because
would have
this
been. No,
Brown
sorry,
Kicker
go
is
ahead.
going to deal a lot of damage. It's going to be able to trade off for the 3/3. It's going to take control of the right side of the board, and the Queen's favor will be able to trade into the Brigand.
Yep, absolutely right.
We should
And if
play
you
it
would have played Fulgar,
here.
the Soul Drain would have been drawn for free from Salugi, so that would have been a great Fulgar. Let's see what Nightingale would have drawn. A free Garden. Oh my
Oh
god.
man, I called that
How
one.
unlucky. So it would have been a great. He'd choose not to play. You know, he went through his head like, should I play Brand Fulgar? It would have been amazing if he did it that turn. It would have been almost game winning if he did Fulgar to Garden and
Yeah,
Soul
I
Drain.
just hope he doesn't push himself into a tilt right before the top 4 though. That'd be a bad thing to see.
Oh my gosh! You got at this point you have to think that it's a little bit frustrating because that's the best possible thing you can get from Baron Fulgar. Oh no, Magnus is still in his deck, so there's still the chance he could draw Magnus, but now it's a much less of a chance now that Garden is drawn. You get a good target.
Yeah. But let's be honest, Gardon is probably still a better target than Magnus is. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, so the best target for Baron Fulgar is now gone.
Yeah, so he's going through his options right now. I think he wants to play the Bold Bargainer this turn, but obviously now we can
Right.
see that Garadon would just get hit by a Last Nightmare at this point. So I think the Bold Bargainer would be the better play. Lord of Terror into Bold Bargainer, obviously.
Right. It's still like anyone's game really, at this point. It's not super decided. The problem that I'm trying to find a solution for on Salugi's end is how do you finish off the game?
Yeah. So if we had this square, I think we would have been so much. Ah, we actually wouldn't have been able to kill this Garridan. It turns out. But then we kill him with in 2 turns with the Wind Soldier. But he kills us in 2 turns with... Yeah. But if it was here, then 1 turn, do this, and then... Yeah, so we actually could have won this game if we played lands much more aggressively and just thought ahead a couple of turns. So that was my mistake.
You're running out of tools to do so. Last Nightmare has to come down this turn, but then your Ground Shaker dies for certain to a Lord of Terror, and then you have to Soul Drain follow up, or Shaitan Vampire follow up, but you won't have the Faria to Shaitan Vampire. So
the Wind Soldier follow up, gathering 2 Faerie at the same time is also possible.
That's true. That is true. But you certainly cannot let Garridan live this turn because 6 damage to the face is a really big deal.
Yeah, especially when we're starting to creep this close to fatigue. Fatigue is something that the players are going to need to consider when they're starting to draw cards at this point.
Yeah. And Salugi is considering his hand.
Yeah, so I was actually pretty frustrated
I
at
guess
this
if it's in
stage.
real life, he'd be shuffling them nervously.
I still do that anytime I play any card game.
Yeah.
And it will be Last Nightmare.
But yeah, it's... I only got myself into this position by misplaying. So I guess I shouldn't be frustrated because... I mean, if I play this 5-3 here, we can just deal with this with Last Nightmare and just race him. I think we win the race. But because we were forced to play it here, we don't have this opportunity, and so now he just has perfect meteor target and we have no chance. So yeah, that's definitely something to take away from it. We should really, particularly in these control matchups, when we see an opportunity to race, we should just go for it.
Alright, and here we see Magnus too. So
Oh my god.
him not playing this Baron has...
Punished for having Baron and not playing it, punished for having Baron and playing it.
if
That would
cards
have been
ever get
something.
sound effects and this sort of thing continues in future tournaments, Baron Thulgar needs to say "play me" on your side as soon as you draw him.
Yeah, every turn actually, just constantly spamming play me, play me.
Okay,
Ooh,
so
that's a good answer for
oh,
that.
absolutely. For those of you that might not know, Death Touch does not destroy any structure. It only destroys creatures when they're damaged.
By placing it there, it does mean he can't have the double harvest area.
But we do see the
So
Bobslinger drawn too, which will be
oh,
able to deal with this.
yep, never mind. Farewell to the plant.
I don't know how much more we need to.
These
All right.
vampires are just taunting him at this point. He really wants to be able to play them, but it's not really an option.
So it might be just a thing to play Windborn. Okay.
Yeah. So he's hoping that both, even if both creatures advance, he won't be able to take out the two on the right. Um, Interesting that he would just pass there. I think going aggressive.
I think the only way that we can win is by drawing. Um, if we draw Garadan next turn, then we have Soul Pact, Feyria, and Garadan clear his board, set up Garadan here, and maybe we can finish him off in 3 turns. So we have a 1 in 7 to finish him off in 3 turns. Yeah, that's our only option. Passing doesn't feel good at all. But, I mean, if we just play the Windstorm Champion. I don't even think it's that great. Like, where do we play it? Because if we play it here and go there, then it just gets killed. So yeah, this is really just a pass because we're desperately hoping to top deck Garadan and somehow make
Champion might
some
have
sort of
been
play.
the better choice here. He would be able to get it to the square just to the left of Nightingale's orb, and just be able to attack for 5 the following turn, and then threaten lethal the turn after that.
Yeah, and there's no answer Nightingale's going to have for that sort of thing other than, he's used a good number of bomb slingers, possibly all of them at this point. I haven't been counting, but
Oh, that's interesting. So if we played it here and then moved it to here. Then we actually win in 2 turns. So this comes in, we're at 12. That's 1 turn. Yeah, that was a play. So let's say we have 2 Feyria left after making this. He goes down to, well, he's still at 13. Comes in here, we're down to 9. He goes down to 8 and moves this back. Because Windstorm Champion, Windstorm Champion. But no, we'd go down to 8 this turn, and then he moves this back. So we'd need a way to deal with this, but we have the Soul Drain. So this would actually be fine. Yeah, that's so much better. Just playing. It's very easy to forget that you can move your own Windborn Champion. But yeah, that's just the better play, and we win the race that way. Yeah, that's so much better. Yeah, okay.
there's not a great answer for a 5/5 that a red deck has.
Yep. Even this Lord of Terror walking forwards, it just would have gotten hit by a soldier next turn, so it wouldn't have been enough.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess, I mean, obviously he's going to Shaitan Vampire this turn, or else he wouldn't have saved it. But I guess he doesn't have to. He could just win Soldier for Feria, destroy the 3/3, wait a turn, because he's not going to get attacked by the Bomb Slinger. And now he could play the Windborne Champion. Actually, that's probably what he's going to do, huh? The Windborne Champion left side, I think. You can save the Soul Drain. You don't need to do it right now.
Yep, and if you do Windborne Champion, you can move the Bomb Slinger back and kind of buy yourself a little bit more time. Even.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, he's going to Soul Drain first, and then Queen's Favorite. To clear out the Lord of Terror. Nope. It's a Harvest from the left side.
Yeah, so I think here it's difficult, right? Because he has so much Faeria. He has a discarded card in his hand. Just getting rid of this Faeria collector doesn't really make much difference. So, yeah, I don't think there's that much value in just playing this here. I think it's tough. Yeah, the Windborne Champion and then move itself. That would be so much better because that plays around. So the whole point that I wasn't playing Windborne Champion was because I was worried about Meteor. And what I didn't realize was that, or what I forgot was that Windborne Champion could actually move itself next to his orb, which just perfectly plays around Meteor. We don't need another Windborne Champion out. That plays so much better. So much better. Yeah.
Now here's where Salugi starts getting a lot of trouble because he only has 6 cards left in deck and Nightingale has 7. And that's after Nightingale is drawn for this turn. So Salugi is effectively 2 turns ahead in fatigue and 2 points behind in life as well. 2 turns ahead in fatigue, or Queen's Favorite rather. To take out 3 of those deserts and just delay Windborne Champion for a long time. Other than that, Nightingale hasn't really seen a good way for Salugi to kill him.
He's gonna play Baron. No, Magnus. Okay. Does he play Baron? No, he don't play.
No
Baron's
Baron
not
this
gonna come out for the rest of the game.
Again, we have the same play available. And we should just do it. If we saw it, we'd do it and we would have won.
I'm trying to figure out why he played Queen's Favorite left side instead of right side. I'm talking about Salugi. Instead of for clearing the Lord of Terror. It seems like he didn't. I don't know if he didn't consider it, but he didn't want to do that. He didn't think. Maybe it's because Nightingale has so much Fairy, he's not really concerned if the Lord of Terror continues harvesting. But by not playing the Queen's Favorite over there, he allowed the Lord of Terror to get in the double harvesting position, which is, anyway, generally not good.
I think since your opponent has shown you double Meteor, you're still worried about him farming because you know he has 2 of those in his deck somewhere probably. But I think it's more likely that he thinks the vampire is going to be able to deal with the creature on the right. So he wanted to kind of play the Queen's Favorite on the left to take control of that well because the Shading Vampire is just going to do the right side later.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think it was just better to put the Queen's Favorite over to the right. But maybe there's a line of, you have to also think he's also playing against Meteor every turn. Like he knows there are Meteors in the deck, so if he played it right, he actually could have got Meteor there as well and lost both of his mountains. But that's not that big of a deal to him either because he has no mountains in hand. Okay, let's see what happens.
Yep, so Magnus is going to get a hit in.
Magnus gets 1 hit. Now, drawing a card might not necessarily be great. It's an Ochre Dance.
It's not bad.
So that's actually good.
Yeah, you definitely need to be careful with how many cards you're going to draw off this Magnus. As we mentioned, fatigue is looming ever closer, and Salugi's just playing nice and slow too. So he, this turn, could have Shading Vampire into Defender of the Homeland.
And that is what he does, and he is going to let the vampire be a victim to...
Yeah. This just isn't consistent. Yeah, I'm really pissed off that I didn't see this Windborne play because it's far better than anything that I did.
Another
So, yeah.
hit from the king.
Well, minus the Defender of the Homeland that wasn't played, so he's going to take 4 damage.
It's Meteor. No, it's not. It still could be. No, it wouldn't be. I think he could.
Yeah, at this
The
stage,
alternative
At this stage, like not seeing this play, without this play, the game's just lost. I mean, even if we did it, I guess he could meteor his own over here, and it'd be fine. But
No,
yeah.
if you want to keep your vampire alive, you hit Magnus.
Yes.
So you last Nightmare to Lure Terror, and then you start milling. Let's see what he gets. Well, a Ground Shaker's a good card to mill into. I'm not sure you're too upset about that.
Yep, and let's take a
Okay.
look.
One of his best playables right now.
Yep, and this is lethal next turn.
Yeah. So yeah, we lose that game because we played badly. Like that was. Perhaps not adjusting correctly to the level of aggression that we should have shown. I think we learned that lesson more so in the final. But yeah, that game was just too. Everything was defensive. There was no. It was like my mind was like really in this defensive mentality and just try and deal with all his threats. But actually, there was legitimate counterattacking possibilities with this Windborn champion, which is the whole reason it's in the deck. And we just decide not to go for it. Yeah, so that's the reason that we do these reviews, to learn from the mistakes that we made, and hopefully we shouldn't make that mistake again. But yeah, so this is game over.
So he has to play Defender of the Homeland. It's his only play.
Updating easily, but it looks like it's going to be Nightingale.
Okay, great.